Lily's dishes are delicious. Carrot cake. How would I describe this carrot cake? I would say it's simple, it's moist, and it's delicious. Everything we need for the cake and for the frosting is listed above. And let's start making it. I will start by roasting 2.5 cups of almonds. I'm going to place them on a tray that's covered up with parchment paper and place them in the oven and roast them until they turn a little darker in color and then set them aside, let them cool. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and sift the dry ingredients. 3 cups of flour. So because my sieve here it's not big, I'm going to sieve 2 cups first. Then I'm going to add the baking powder and baking soda. And I will use 3 teaspoons of baking powder and 2 teaspoons of baking soda. And then add the rest of the flour. Finish sifting it, and then I'm just going to run my whisk through it just to make sure that all the ingredients are well combined. In the bowl of the stand mixer, I have here 6 eggs. The eggs are at room temperature. I'm going to beat the eggs, and to this I'm going to add 2.5 cups of sugar and half a cup of oil. Continue beating it and then add 4 teaspoons of cinnamon. And once you've added the cinnamon, you can stop the mixer. And now it's time for the dry ingredients. I'm going to add the flour, but not the entire portion, just the part of it. And then to this, I'm going to add the shredded carrots, the 4 cups of carrots, and the almonds, the roasted almonds, but only 1 cup. Save the rest of the almonds for later. Mix it and add the remaining flour. And then this batter will be divided in 3 different baking pans. And I'm going to use the round ones, the 8-inch baking pans, which are already pre-sprayed and ready to go in the oven. Once the batter is divided, they're going to go into the oven for about 40 minutes at 325. Once they're ready, take them out and let them cool into the baking pan for about 10 minutes and then place them on the rack until they're completely cool. And I'm very pleased the way they turned out. They're nice, flat. I don't have any trimming to do. Just take a look. The layers are just perfect. So while they're cooling, I'm gonna go ahead and work on the cream. And for this delicious cream cheese frosting, I'm going to use 1 pack of butter and 1.5 of cream cheese. They're both at room temperature. Just cut the butter in smaller pieces. Then add the cream cheese and beat it for a couple of minutes just to make sure that everything is softened up. And then to that I'm going to add 3 pounds of powdered sugar and 1 tablespoon of vanilla. Put the shield on the mixer and make sure you cover the mixer with a cloth, otherwise that sugar will just burst into the room. Mix it for a couple of minutes until you end up with a beautiful smooth cream, and then you are ready to assemble the cake. I'm going to place a little bit of the frosting on the cake board. This will help my cake layer stick to the cake board. And while you're watching me assembling this cake, I just want to mention that this beautiful bouquet of sunflowers that you see there, that was a gift that I got from my nieces. They surprised me. And since it's a beautiful bouquet, I decided to put it here on my working table so I can admire them while I'm working. Alright, let's talk about the cake again. So once my cake is assembled, I'm going to crumb coat it, which means I'm going to place a layer of frosting everywhere, which does not have to be perfect. And once that frosting is placed, I'm going to put the cake in the freezer for a good 5 minutes just for that frosting to harden up before I put my final layer. It is so much easier to do the final layer on a cake that has been crumb coated and placed in the freezer. You don't have to worry about pulling those crumbs into the final layer. So what I do my crumb coating first. I place it in the freezer for 5 minutes, take it out, do another layer, almost done, and then place it in the freezer again for a couple of minutes. Then take it out and just smoothen up that frosting with a scraper or a spatula that has been warmed up. So what I do, I take my scraper and my offset spatula, place them in the hot water, and they warm up. and that helps you get a nice smooth finished product. So I'm pretty much done with my cake, and now I'm ready to decorate it. Over here I have some of the frosting that I set aside in the cups, and I'm going to color it. Two of my cups I'm going to color in orange and one in green. So orange will be for the carrots. I put a couple of drops of orange and one drop of red, and mix it, set it aside, and then color the green one. And then I have to transfer this into piping bags. And for the leaves, for the carrot leaves, I'm going to use this tip. It's the grass tip. So cut that piping bag, the edge, push the tip through it, and then put it in a cup. Wrap your piping bag around the cup, and that's the place where you're going to place the frosting. Otherwise, you're going to create a mess. And then lift it up and twist that bag a little bit, set it aside, and do the same thing with the orange frosting, except for this one I'm going to use a different tip, just a round little tip there. So the same thing, cut the piping bag, wrap your bag around the cup, place your frosting inside. I keep saying cup, but actually it's a glass. So pick up your piping bag from the glass, roll it up a little bit and set it aside, and let's go ahead and decorate the cake. Never mind, not yet. I forgot about the Oreos. So what I have to do, take some of the Oreos, split them apart, pick up that white cream, just shave it off, and save the Oreo itself only, the cookie. And then I'm going to place those into a plastic bag and crush them as much as I can. And that shall serve as a ground that I'm going to use to decorate the cake board. So crush those Oreos here, and if your hands are getting tired, then take the dough roller and use it like I am. And once you crush those Oreos, set the bag aside, and let's put the almonds around the cake. Just a little bit more pressing here, and I think that's pretty much done. So what I'm doing, I'm taking some of the almonds and I'm just pushing against the cake to make sure they stick into the frosting. My cake is a little bit frozen still, so I have to put a little bit pressure. If the frosting is soft, they will just attach to it, but it's a little bit frozen still, so I have to just gently push against the cake. And I'm going to have some extra almonds, but that's okay because some of us here like to have extra almond in our plate when we eat our carrot cake. So whoever wants the extra almonds will have them. So I'm happy with the almond layer. Now I have to put the crushed Oreos, and for them to be able to stay on that cake board, I will use some of the frosting, which serves as a glue. So a tiny layer of frosting, then take that Oreo, sprinkle it in that area. Make sure you don't put it on the cake, so kind of just put it on the cake board. Take a little spatula, just push down the Oreo with the spatula, and then I'm going to take the orange piping bag and place my carrots. And these carrots will appear as if they're stuck in the ground, so just a little bit is showing. So I'm pushing a little bit, squeeze that piping bag, and here comes the carrot. I wish I had an extra pair of hands to hold my turning table. Few more carrots, and then it's time to place the leaves. So small squeeze on top of that orange frosting, and it really looks like a carrot that is sticking out of the ground. So I'm doing the same thing on the top, except over here I did not put any of the Oreos. I decided to leave it just plain. So I'm doing the same thing, squeezing those carrots there. I need somebody to help me. Come on, anybody? Yay, finally a volunteer is coming here to help me. There we go. That's much easier. As a reward for helping me, you should be the first one to eat out of this cake. You should get the first slice. Anyway, so let's make some carrots in the center. So what I'll do for the center, I'm just going to use that tip, and I'm pulling sideways. I'm going to make 4 little carrots there. So I'm squeezing a tiny bit, and as I'm pulling, I'm squeezing harder to make it look thicker towards the end. And of course place that leaves there, and my piping bag has burst on the side, so some of the frosting is coming out. I gotta be careful not to drip on the cake. And I think I like my carrots to be a little taller, so what I'll do, I'll just add some more frosting on it to make it slightly taller. And then the same thing, I'm going to add the leaves, and that should be it. Carrot cake is done. Decorate it any way you want. A couple of squeezes before my bag bursts completely. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it burst. Normally it doesn't happen, but this bag did. So, what do you think? That is my carrot cake. Here comes the first slice. Yay! Where's my helper? It's all yours. Let me tell you, definitely worth the effort. It's not that difficult to make. It's moist, it's very yummy, and those roasted almonds inside really add a nice touch to it. So I'm also going to show you a cake that I made before, a couple of years ago, just a different way of decorating. And hope you enjoyed it. Hope you get to make it. Let me know how it turns out, and thanks for watching.